Welcome to Front and Center Ice, presented by Run Pure Sports. I'm your host, JC Zargo, on this lovely Saturday morning, joined by the boys Tanner and Nadesify. How you guys doing today?
Not too bad. Ready to help everyone who's coming over from the NBA side of things off the All-Star break. So let's just have some winners.
Absolutely. We know there's some new people. As you know, no NBA DFS to be played. We absolutely murdered it on Thursday. Nadesify, did you have a good Friday? You followed up with another good night?
Yeah, we had a really good night last night. Had a lot of RPS members up towards the top. I had about a 1.5x night. So I was in a lot of satellites and qualifiers and stuff. But it's always nice to still make money when you're chasing those. So made about $300-400, something like that. Nothing crazy, but yeah, it's been a good stretch. And I think we've been on the right path. I mean, if you watch the Thursday show, it was pretty hard not to print money. If you watch the Tuesday show, same thing. So let's keep it rolling here for Saturday morning, 8 a.m. here in Wisconsin. I was bright and early, updating everything, getting stuff done. Got my little Ghost energy drink here, so we're ready to rip and ready to pick some more winners. We got some nice contests. This is the best week of the year for us NHL junkies because contests are boosted. There's a lot more fish in the lobbies, and I'm from Wisconsin. I like some fish fries up here, so it's always good.
Right on, right. Yeah, absolutely. It's great time of year. I know, NBA is a weird time of year there with all those trades going on. Kind of been hard to bet the past few weeks. We have been killing it in NHL. As is Saturday tradition, though, we're only hitting the late games. If anyone in the chat's got any questions on the early games, more than happy to answer them. Just drop them, and we'll circle back to those earlier games. But yeah, we'll just kick things right off. Montreal Canadiens visiting the Toronto Maple Leafs. Canadian matchup, always fun to see. Toronto, of course, been killing it this year. Montreal's been left something to be desired. Playing well of late, though. Won a few games and seeing they kind of keep rolling against Toronto. Tanner, I'll toss it to you first. Just riding with the home team on this one, or any love for the Habs?
I'm staying off this game. Toronto, they're great, and I don't know if you saw, but they traded for Ryan O'Reilly late last night, and he's projected to be on that second line with Tavares right now. I don't know if that comes to fruition tonight.
Already?
Yeah, sometimes they ship guys out. It was a bonkers trade. Minnesota got involved too on paper, and it's weird. But historically, Toronto doesn't play that well against the Canadiens. Like, you have to go back almost 2 years to the day to the last time that they won by more than one goal. The home team tends to win in these situations, but Montreal, this is one of the oldest matchups in North American sports. They've been playing each other for 100 years. They just know each other, the ins and outs. And even if you think the Leafs are the winners here, they're minus 425 favorites. They're minus 155 puck line. Like, there's just no value there in anything. So if anything, I'd take the under because that seems to be the trend for these teams. But for the most part, I'm really staying off this game, though. Nothing really interesting here.
Okay, you just said it's normally 1 goal game, but in the Montreal puck line's plus 125, so no love for that?
I don't mind it, but they do stink sometimes. I think if anything, you can go for that. And if Jake Allen is in that RPS hero, maybe he stands on his head here, but I think that's the only way they can stay in it. It's just, I don't know. Toronto's one of those teams I just can't get a read on. Whenever I do hammer them, they just completely shit the bed. And anytime I stay off them, it seems to be when they play up to the level that we expect from Toronto hockey. So I've just had horrible history with them. So this is a no-go for me.
All right, fair enough. Nadesify, who do you have in this one?
Yeah, it's hard for me not to take the chalk here in Toronto. Looking at my matchup sheet, I don't care about past history too much in these two. It would matter. I believe I took the Habs earlier in the year when these two played and owned all the haters when they said the Habs were going to get smoked, and I got the win, cashed the ticket there. But Suzuki is lost to his big line mate there in Caulfield on that top line. I know Pinard has been great since jumping up to that top line. He's just not he's not the same as Cole Caulfield. He's like a Cole Caulfield light. And Toronto, with getting those extra pieces, Noah Akari too. Don't sleep on him on that fourth line from last night from the Blues in that trade. I think this just rejuvenates this team, and they're going to have a little pep in their step here. And they're playing the worthless Habs. I mean, they're bad. The last 5, they're giving up 4 goals per game actual, and their expected goals is actually the second worst or second best in the league in over 4. So it's even worse than what their actual is looking like. Give up the most shots per game on the road here. I just feel like Toronto kind of steamrolls them here. The only issue is from a DFS perspective, especially with a lot of NBA guys in other sports being on break. People are going to be coming in the NHL streets, especially with the increased prize pools. And totals reflect so much, right, in people's decision-making process, right, and money lines. And with Toronto being a minus 440, I saw it at open. If it's down to 4, whatever it is, either way, over 400 favorite. I feel like a lot of people are going to flock here. Can't really fault them too much. That top line of Matthews, Nylander, and Bunting are playing great hockey right now. Nylander has 19 shots in his last 5 games, 3 goals, 3 assists. Michael Bunting, you get a little discount there. He's got 12 shots, 2 goals, 2 assists. And then obviously Austin Matthews. Doesn't take me to tell you guys Austin Matthews is one of the greatest hockey players right now in the league. Can score from anywhere. He's a great center. He's got 12 shots, 2 goals, and assists. So that line's great. I probably would only stick to that line just because I don't know how auto parts there, Ryan O'Reilly is going to fit on that second line. It's definitely going to help them out. But I don't know how it's going to match. Right? New team, first kind of go at it here with the new line. So if I'm playing Toronto, it's just eating the chalk with that top line, and I do think they can score a couple here, even if it is a 5-4 game, right? And that top line scores 3 of the 5 goals. You're pretty mint. But they are going to have a decent amount of ownership here. On the Montreal side, I mean, you can always play a guy like Mike Hoffman. He's averaging right around 4 shots per game over his last 5. He's on that top power play, always lethal to score a goal here. And let's face it, Toronto hasn't been stone walls in that over the last 5. But their expected goals is significantly lower than what their actual goals against is. So maybe some positive regression coming there for them. So that's probably why I'm going to completely fade this Montreal team. If you want to get crazy MME guy, sure, take some shots on Montreal because anything can happen. It's NHL DFS. But my 2 lineups definitely not going to play any Montreal guys on an 8-game slate here with a lot of juicy games. I just don't see a need to target a team that's 3rd in the league in expected goals against. So
yeah, it's kind of what I felt like. There's just better spots on this slate. If you aren't loving Toronto tonight, fair enough. Next game on the slate is one I think everyone's going to have their eyes on. It's another stadium series. Washington Capitals visiting the Carolina Hurricanes. They are over at Carter Finley Stadium tonight. I think God loves hockey because it's supposed to be like 70 all week in Raleigh. But today they got a little bit of a break. Should be about 48 game time. So keep that ice in shape for the boys. Should be a fun matchup. Carolina's, kind of gained a national spotlight over the past couple of years. Hosting Washington. Unfortunately, it's a pretty banged up Washington team. It's not a fully loaded Caps. It's not the matchup people maybe would have hoped for with no Wilson, no Ovi, some other injuries. Honestly, it just seems like a Carolina smash spot. They got the spotlight. I think they're going to take advantage of it. But am I misreading something? Start with you, Tanner.
No, I think you're spot on. Like you said, the temperature-wise, it's going to be right around that 40-degree mark come 8 o'clock in Raleigh, so ice should be fine. Usually the weather is the biggest issue here, like when they decided to play at noon in California last year, 2 years ago. But, yeah, I mean, the puck line for the Hurricanes here, plus 135, there's just going to be an energy in that building. They're going to come out absolutely flying. And like you said, no Ovi for the Capitals. He's been the driving force on that team for almost 20 years. So without him in the lineup, that's just going to deal such a blow to them. It's just, I don't see how. I think you can go towards regulation if you want a little safer play. You get minus 125 on that, but plus 135, I have no issue taking them for that puck line. I think they're just going to pummel them tonight. I mean, they just smother teams the way they play. And like I said, just the energy in that building. I don't know how many people Carter Finley holds, but it's a lot more than PNC. So already one of the loudest arenas in the league. So they're going to be buzzing. I do like Brent Burns again. His shot props at 2.5 for -145. You can toss that in there into the shot prop parlay. He's just been on an absolute tear lately. He just loves to shoot the puck, and this just seems like a game where the big dogs come to play for the Hurricanes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I don't know if it's just recency bias, but I feel like these stadium games, you don't see that many goals. So I would lean under, but I don't have a strong play on that. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, with the Hurricanes, the under's always in play just because they use the goalie as target practice and they don't allow goals against. I mean, if they had better goalies, the unders would always hit, but it's at 5.5. I just tend to avoid those. If it was at 6, I'd have some interest, but that 5.5 mark just, I don't know, because I could see it being 3-2 late in the third, pull the goalie, they tuck that 6th goal, and then you're just kind of screwed there. So I think you can just go with the Hurricanes on anything here. I'd love to give a goal scorer prop here, but we know the Hurricanes score. Everyone but the stick guy gets a goal in their game, so it's tough to call.
Yeah, for sure. And that's exactly how I was going to transition it for Nate. We always talk about how difficult this Carolina team is to predict on the DFS side just because anyone can score. So, I mean, and with Ovi being out, does that maybe transition to some love for Washington as, you kind of know who's going to see the action there?
No, I pretty much not gonna touch Washington here. Got to give a shout out to our guy Mike Carr here, joining the NHL winners here early. So always appreciate you, Mike Carr. If you guys are in here or are watching this on replay, because it is early morning Saturday and the late slate does not start until 6 Central Time here. Please drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. We always appreciate that. But yeah, jumping back to this game. I think you see, so these kind of like stadium series, right, and the Winter Classic and those games that are outside, right? Like, yeah, the players love playing in them, and they're awesome to be there. There's going to be a ton of fans. Mike was saying there's like 65,000 people that it can hold. I don't know if it gets to max capacity, right, for a hockey game without Ovi on the ice, but definitely going to be a lot of fans there. But the total's sitting at 5.5, and that just speaks volumes, right, to these outside kind of games, right? If this game was in Carolina, in their home rink, it would have to be 6 or 6.5 even, right? Just because of how Carolina can score and how bad Washington's been without Ovi. But with it sitting at 5.5, I don't have a ton of interest on an 8-game slate targeting a 5.5 total, especially with a team like Carolina where everyone, even the dude from the stands in the top left, comes in and skates on the ice and pots a goal. It's just tough. I mean, Teravainen, 4,900. That's a great price tag for him. He's extremely active, hasn't had under 10 DraftKings points in his last 5. You still get some pretty solid value there on that top power play. We called Kotkaniemi last time. I don't know if I go back to him, but he is playing pretty good hockey. That second line there with Jesper, Turbo, Teravainen, and Nakas, they're playing some good hockey. So I wouldn't mind that just because they're cheaper than that top line. You can always play a guy like Svetch. I cored Svetch last game, and he dropped 24, which was very nice. You can go right back to him. We talked about it last time, right? If Carolina is getting a lead, they're going to let these young guys run, right? Svetch, Kotkaniemi, these younger dudes go out and in a kind of like a 3-0 type game, right? They're not going to run Aho out there. They're not going to run Jarvis and those guys and risk injury, right? These guys are playing for a cup. It's no surprise. It's them in Boston, kind of 1-2, and that's going to be a dogfight series. So I'm excited to watch that later on this year. But outside of that, I don't have a ton of interest in Aho, Jarvis, or Svetch just at their prices. I don't love a 5.5 total. Not sure how it's going to play, right? Being outdoors and in that, and maybe if the sun is hitting the ice, right, and the ice conditions kind of go down, sometimes you see on these outdoor games. So don't love that a ton. For Washington, Dylan Strome is interesting just because of how well he's playing right now. He's averaging right around 3 shots per game. He's 4,300. If I was going to anyone on Washington, it'd be actually that third line in Strome, Oshie, and Joe Schmo there. Snively, I think, is the rookie or something, right? Tanner, I think he is. He's only played a couple games, but he's been pretty active.
Yeah,
he's been pretty active,
especially with all the injuries they have. They've been giving him a decent amount of ice time lately.
Yeah, so that's the only interest I'd have. Like I said, from a DFS perspective, probably going to full fade this game just because 5.5 total. Carolina scores from everywhere. Washington without Ovi has just been terrible. So not a ton of interest.
Yeah, I mean, I know Tanner knows this. Mike Carp calling it out. That's the thing about these Hurricanes is extremely fair weather fans in Raleigh.
Oh,
but when the Hurricanes are good,
I will say tickets did drop the other day to like $220 before all the fees and everything. So if you're in the area, you can probably snag one.
I mean, when you look at the population of Raleigh versus like in LA or like a Boston where they do these games, like you might be a little bit surprised. But no, when the Hurricanes are good, the fans show out,
and when they're bad, they don't.
Yes, it's a stark contrast.
Yeah, hear the crickets.
North Carolina. But we keep it moving. Philadelphia Flyers at the Vancouver Canucks. Got to give Nate his flowers on that Thursday game. Seattle, Philly. I was all over Seattle. I said there's no way Philly wins 2 in a row against the Kraken. And boy, did they slaughter the Kraken. 6-2 victory for Philly. They continue to roll, taking on a Vancouver team that won their revenge game against Bo Horvat, but have not won any other games since trading him. So what's your plan here, Nate?
Yeah, this game is a 6.5 total. It's pretty interesting. Both these teams kind of suck. I definitely lean more towards the Philly side just because I've always targeted Vancouver. Vancouver coming off that win right against Bo Horvat there, kind of snuck it out. But I mean, it's tough for me. This game is actually not the greatest. Vancouver is actually, as bad as they are, they're 31st in the league in allowing shots at sitting right around 24 per game. But their penalty kill is terrible. So if Philly does go on the penalty, the power play, there's a good chance that they're going to score 1 or 2 at least here. But let me look at these price tags here for Philly. I would probably focus on like Morgan Frost, Konechny, and James Van Riemsdyk. JVR is 4,400 there. He's at least active when he's on the ice. But to be honest, it's tough even with Philly with the line correlation in this game being on the road too. I don't have a ton of interest from a DFS perspective, even though it is Vancouver. On the Vancouver side, you can always play a guy like Elias Pettersson, EP40. He's just got an immense upside. He's an incredible center stuck in a terrible franchise there. So we'll likely see the Vancouver franchise blow up after this year when all these guys go to the market there. JT Miller, RPS legend. His price tag though is climbing. He's up near 6K now. We were getting him for a long time at 4,900, 5,100. So he's towards the peak of his salary on the year. So I typically don't like playing players too much when they start reaching those. But I mean, looking at the last 2 matchups, dating back to even last year, I mean, 2-1, 2-3. So these games typically tend to play slower and more defensive. So looking at the goalies here, it does look like both backup tenders in Spencer Martin and Felix Sandstrom are, projected to be in net, which is very interesting because if that's
I'm seeing Carter Hart and
Colin the different sites have different goalies right now.
Yeah, I mean it's 8:20 in the morning, right? Yeah. So it's tough with goalies. Yeah. I mean, if Carter Hart is in that, I definitely have a lot of interest in Carter Hart just because I think Philly can win this game and Vancouver still fires the puck. So I definitely have more interest in Carter Hart. But from an offensive standpoint, I think I'm probably not going to get to this game, especially in my 1-3 lineups. In 20 max, 150 kind of MME guys, yeah, certainly you can include some Philly stacks in there. You can include a guy like Elias Pettersson for Vancouver. But it's definitely probably not going to be main lineup kind of guys for sure.
Okay, I mean, I'm struggling here a little bit then because I can't believe Philly's a dog. I understand Vancouver's at home. Given how both teams are playing, coming into this, I mean, we haven't really cleared it up. I thought Delia was a net who's just been horrendous for Vancouver. Going up against Carter Hart, it really just seemed like a Philly smash spot. If it is Delia and net, do you basically saying then you would give a little more love to Philly if it is Hart versus Delia?
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Philly side, but the issue is just I don't see how much upside Philly really has. I mean, there's some really, really good matchups in terms of fantasy on the slate. And Philly is kind of like a modified Carolina in a little bit, right? They have like Scott Lawton on that fourth line can score, JVR third line. I mean, their lines are just a line blender, right? All their good guys are kind of spread out. My biggest interest for Philly would definitely be that second line and Morgan Frost, Owen Tippett, and Kevin Hayes. But outside of that, I still don't have a ton of interest, to be honest.
So you don't fault anyone for betting Philly. You just got no love on the DFS side.
Yeah, if I was betting, I would definitely bet Philly in this game because I do think Philly wins, and that's why it gives me interest in Carter Hart. But from a DFS perspective, just not a ton of love on this slate.
No, that makes sense. Tanner, are you riding Philly with me, or do you got some love for the home team?
Yeah, I mean, if Carter Hart's in that, we know what he can do. I do getting even money for them money line if he is in there. If it's Sandstrom, I like him a little less. But if we do get the backup tendies going at it, I like the over. It's at 6.5. You're getting -135 on that. I mean, Vancouver's just an overs team. It seems like every single game. Yeah, their home arena is averaging a little over 7 goals in a game, and they just don't play defense, but they're allowing a ton of goals against. They're allowing almost 4 goals against while only averaging 24 shots against. So that just reiterates everything you just said about their goaltending. So yeah, if Hart's in that, I do prefer them to it. One person I did want to mention, like you said, EP40 Elias Pettersson, his shot prop is only at 2.5, and you're getting -160 for that. He shoots the puck a ton, like you said. He's just an incredible player stuck on a garbage team. So I think he hits that 2.5 mark pretty handedly, especially against the Philly team that's, not the best best defensively. I mean, they're averaging 30 shots against, which isn't anything crazy, but I do think this is a decent game. But yeah, it depends right now. Without knowing goalies, it's hard to pick a winner for me just because Carter Hart does make that much of a difference. There's a huge drop off between him and Felix Sandstrom. So if he's in, I do like that even money on the Flyers. If it is the backup goalies, like I've seen in a few more spots here than I do, I prefer the over to the Flyers.
Yeah, definitely. That was the other call that I had is the over, especially. I'm not sure if I'll be on it if Hart's in net, but if we're running both backup tendies, this game easily sees. I mean, this game could see 10 goals.
Yeah, I do really like that second line for Philly. I do like that Konechny and Hayes. Konechny's just been on an absolute tear. He's +172 as a goal scorer. He's a phenomenal player, and Vancouver just doesn't like defense. So if he gets out there in the right spot, he can definitely tuck one against, either of the Vancouver goalies. Neither one's spectacular in any sense of the word.
Fair enough. Yeah, I like it. We keep it rolling. New York Rangers visiting the Calgary Flames. New York has won 7 games in a row. They're on a heater. And Flames is a team, at RPS kind of been fading for a while. They're just not really getting the job done. We had a nice upset on Thursday when Detroit took them down. So, Nades of High, is that your plan today? Full fade of Calgary?
Yeah, it's tough for me. I do think we see goals in this one. Okay. The Rangers just fought hard last night to win that game in shootout. It went to the ultimate kind of tiebreaker in the shootout there. No one could score. I think it was like the 5th or the 6th guys it went to in the shootout there. So hard fought game against Edmonton. I mean, they came back. Edmonton potted 4 or 3 or 4 in the first period. I was all over the Edmonton train last night. It was looking great. I still had a great night. But I mean, these Canadian hockey teams just can't close out games. Like, man, they just all dropped between Ottawa, between Edmonton last night. Like, Edmonton was buzzing that game, and Campbell was absolutely incredible in that, like unbelievable, and they still lose. But yeah, it's tough. So the reason I want to like the Rangers here, but you have to think a regression is coming here. And after a game like that, right, playing against McDavid, playing against Leon, in Edmonton, balls to the wall, kind of over 60 minutes of hockey, right? 65 minutes plus all the shootout time. I want to say Calgary on home ice here seems a little bit intriguing, but I mean, from the numbers perspective, it's bright green matchup here for the Rangers, and the Rangers are playing good. They still remain cheap as well. So I do kind of like some of these Rangers pieces. I cored Alexis Texas last night, Lafreniere. He potted one, which is nice, and potted one in the shootout to win the game, which was pretty sweet to see. So that was nice little boost there for DFS. But any of these top two lines here for the Rangers in Vincent Trocheck, Bredman there, and Panarin and Jimmy Vesey definitely makes some sense. And then even that top line, I mean, that top line's been great with the addition of Tarasenko there. So you can definitely go to them. I don't know if I get to this third line, but definitely could make some sense. On the Flame side, I mean, Kadri is 6,400. That's pretty cheap for Kadri. Yeah. He's got some great upside there. It's Shesterkin went last night. I don't think Shesterkin's going to roll back out there on a back-to-back, so it's going to be Halak in that, especially after overtime. So that does give me a slight boost in Calgary. And I think Calgary can actually steal this one with them being on a back-to-back. One bet, two for the people. Calgary first period over. Or first period puck line, and then that first period over in goals, especially after an overtime battle there with New York and Edmonton. Now they travel into Calgary. I think Calgary can at least win the first period here for sure. So I like that bet quite a bit. But for the Flames, it's really, let me pull them up here. It's really these top two lines. Hold on here. So Kadri is cheap. I like Kadri quite a bit. And then that top line and Elias Lindholm, Tyler Toffoli, and Dylan Dubé have been absolutely incredible. Toffoli's got 18 shots over his last 5, 4 goals, 2 assists. He remains affordable. He's probably going to be more of a cashy type option because I do think he's going to draw some ownership. That second line, my really only interest is Kadri, which is it's kind of nice because he does have power play correlation with Toffoli and Lindholm. But a sneaky line here for the people is actually going to be Calgary 3. I've played Calgary 3 a lot this year. And Mangiapane, Backlund, and Blake Coleman. I mean, looking at their last 5 games, 13 shots, 16 shots, and 12 shots across the line with 1 assist, 4 assists, 2 assists, and 4 goals. So that line's got 4 goals over the last 5. They are all cheap. And now get this Rangers team on a back-to-back, which just absolutely gave up a ton of goals last night to Edmonton. I mean, you had Derek Ryan scoring goals out there for Edmonton. So with the Flames, I definitely give them the nod here. And I third line quite a bit for a nice value stack.
Okay. All right. I mean, here's the thing, man. Nate's final knows what he's talking about. However, I just see plus money next to a New York Rangers team that has won 7 in a row. They've averaged over 5 goals a game in this stretch. So, I mean, the over 6.5 and the money line is jumping off the page. Tanner, what do you see here? You split the difference.
Yeah, I do like the over in this one. Just like you said, the Rangers played a tough game last night against a fast Edmonton team, went to the shootout, real barn burning 5-4 final. But with Halak in that, he's not Igor. We know that. But the Flames, they've just been disappointing lately. I mean, they're 4-4-2 in their last 10. We thought the optimizer seemed to think that they were in a great spot last game against the Red Wings, and they completely shit the bed, losing that 5-2 to a team on a back-to-back there. But it's just, yeah, it's hard to say just because the Rangers are playing to such an elite level right now. And, But just like their expected goals, everything, they're playing well above what their like stats say they should be playing at. So it is tough, but that plus money is nice. It's honestly, Halak is a big reason I'm not on them. If Halak had played last night and they had Igor tonight, give me that plus 120 all day, every day. I do like what Nate Spice said about that. The first period, we talked about that a lot with teams on back-to-backs with travel. Like you said, a hard-fought game last night. They could be a little flat-footed. You're getting plus 160 on the Flames in that first period. So I don't know if they hold it together the entire time, but I do like that there. Going back to, I like that he mentioned the third line. Michael Backlund, I've been going to him all year. His shot prop, he shoots a ton of shot props at 2.5. You get his minus 135 on that. You can toss that into the parlay. They're going to get a great matchup. Like I said, the Rangers have been playing well lately. There has to be some regression to the mean. I mean, they're just playing at such an insane level. I don't know how long you can keep that up. So as far as outcome, I'd like to say the Flames, but they're, like Nate Spice said, these Canadian teams just seem to be shitting the bed lately. They just can't hold it together late in games or whatever it is. So I have a hard time going to it out of this. You're getting minus 120 on the over on DraftKings, so I don't mind that at all at 6.5.
For sure. All right, us versus Nate rarely fares well for us, but we'll see if we can change that narrative with this one. Anything else to add, Nate?
Nah, good here.
Cool. Moving along, Arizona Coyotes visiting the Los Angeles Kings. Seems pretty simple here. Arizona's terrible on the road. LA, they're a solid squad. They head back up to 5 after being in Anaheim last night. You guys see the refs robbed us of a goalie fight?
I heard there was a scrum. I saw Gibson center ice slapping his stick around, but I fell asleep. I saw it this morning.
I was so disappointed, man.
It's been a while since I've seen a good goalie tilt, so I wouldn't mind it.
I know, and it was also, while I expect to be quick, it was Copley. So he's going after the young guy, and yeah, just banging his stick at center ice was a badass move, and I think very low of the refs that robbed us of that gem. Regardless, though, LA smashed the Ducks, so they'll try to keep rolling tonight at home against the Coyotes. Nate, you're the Arizona Whisperer, so I'll let you kick us off and let us know who you have in this one.
Yeah, Arizona Whisperer when they're in that Cracker Jack Stadium out there in Arizona. But I typically fade them on the road here, right, and it's not going to change here. I love this Kings squad. I mean, they're playing incredible hockey. I watched that whole game last night. I had 100% Kings exposure in my two lineups. I just couldn't see how the Kings didn't smash the Ducks, and well, they did smash the Ducks, which is no surprise. Every team smashes the Ducks there, but the Ducks want that, right? They want that Connor McJesus 2.0 there in Bedard. So overall, Kings, I definitely think smash here. They're definitely a very, very good stack. I like them quite a bit, even on the back-to-back. I don't care. It wasn't like they were in a barn burner and had to fight hard. They gave up a couple goals there once Quick had to go in when Copley got ejected there for the game misconduct. But that was fun to see. It was hurtful for the DFS side. We had our guy Nuggets. Would have shipped the night slate for sure with Copley, and he would have had an outside shot to ship the main for 20K on the main slate. He finished at like 179 or something with Copley in his lineup, and he got thrown out early in the second period. So he would have had a lot more saves opportunities, and then obviously the win. They were going to win no matter what, right? And then Quick came in and gave the Ducks some life there, which was. They also got a 5-minute major out of there too, so they were on the penalty for quite some time. But yeah, that was hurtful. I do think Copley is probably going to go back in here. I don't care if it's Copley or Quick. I don't have a ton of interest in either one of them. But from an offensive perspective, I do have a lot of interest in going right back to the well with Kopitar and Kemp. And then going right back to the well with that second line too, in RV, Deneau and Trevor Moore. Victor Arvidsson, what a freak, man. Like his first guy was a snipe. He sniped again. He's just so good. And then if you really want to get spicy here, I don't even mind that third line in Fiala, Lizotte, and Iafallo. Fiala definitely he potted one last night. That third line is playing pretty good hockey right now too, and they all see over 15 minutes of ice time a game. The one dude that hurt my feelings last night was Quentin Byfield. He got yanked from that top power play, and they put let me see here. They put big Gabe Villardi on there. He returned last night, so I probably go right. I kind of like going right back to Quentin Byfield. Like, he had 15 DraftKings points in like 3 of his last 5 games. Last night, obviously, he just had the block shot there, which was hurtful from a DFS perspective, but could be some decent flop leg there. He's still skating with Kopitar and Kemp on the full strength, and now plays the Coyotes here, who allowed the most shots on the road per game at close to 40. So you give this Kings team 40 shots a game, they're going to score three or 4 goals here for sure. So definitely all aboard the Kings train here. And I mean, if you put their power play on the penalty there, it's a scary scene. They're the third best power play unit on home ice over the last 4 games. So over the last month or so. So definitely all aboard the Kings for the. Let me see if I got anything for the Coyotes here. My only interest for the Coyotes would be our guy Lawson Krause. Right back to the well with him. He's starting to play better hockey again. He's 4,100, so this would be a perfect like kind of one-off. Or I don't really like game stacks too much, but like if you're heavy on the Kings, throw Krause in there, because I can see him potting one here tonight. He's 4,100. Does get second power play run as well. Averaging right around 3.5 shots per game. But outside of him, the only other interest I'd really have is a guy like Barrett Hayton. I've played him all year long, and he's continues to be cheap, 4,100 on that top power play, top line. So definitely don't mind that. But yeah, I'm all aboard the Kings train again here tonight.
Right on. All right. Seems pretty easy, but Tanner, I'll let you give your thoughts.
No, I'm right there with him. If Quick's in that, I like the Kings to win either way, but if he's in that, I do like the same game parlay on DraftKings with the Kings money line and over 5.5 goals for plus 120. Their last game in LA, the final score was 5-3. I mean, LA, they're on a back-to-back, but it was the Ducks, and I mean, they're across town, so
yeah, they slept
travel's a non-issue. Yeah, it's just it's not a huge issue. And a big part of this too is Arizona's still, I believe, without Gostisbehere and Chychrun on the back end, and they are the defense of that team. Last game when they played in LA, Chychrun had 25 minutes of ice time. Gostisbehere had 23 minutes of ice time. They combined for 4 of Arizona's 21 shots. So it's just, they're a huge part of this team. I know 21 shots isn't anything to brag about, but when 2 of your D guys account for 20% of your team shooting, they're not 20, whatever that math is. I'm not a math guy, but it's just a huge aspect of this team. So without them, I just think they're just going to get pumped tonight. I do like that Victor Arvidsson call. His shot props at 2.5 for minus 145. He's been shooting a ton lately. And Adrian Kempe has just been on the tear of a lifetime for him. He's plus 125 on FanDuel as a goal scorer again. He can't be stopped. His shot props at 3.5 for minus 105. The guy's just been a menace as of late, and I just don't see how they lose this game.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, still being able to catch that puck line at plus money, definitely worth a little bit of coin there. Pretty simple. So we'll keep it moving. Buffalo Sabres visiting the San Jose Sharks. This is an interesting one. Line open at 6.5. No surprise, it jumped up to 7. So you get plus money on the over 7. Knowing these teams, they play fast, heavy offense, little defense. It just must be juicy from a DFS side. No.
Yeah. I think this is definitely an interesting game here. And I'm on the Buffalo side. I'm probably not going to be on the Sharks at all. Looking at the underlying metrics here, even with the Sharks at home, Buffalo's 31st in the league in expected goals against. And their actual goals against is hitting 19th in the league. So it's not even that great. So I do think, Buffalo's been better defensively than what we've seen earlier this year. And I don't think people have caught on yet too much. And this is kind of a similar situation, I think, back to Thursday, right? When we slobbed all over Detroit and owned all the Opto Bros there that were slamming Calgary. So I definitely think Buffalo is the play in this game. The Sharks are allowing close to 4 goals per game actual over the last 5. Their expected goals is still up towards 3.5 goals. They're allowing the 6th most shots on home ice. Their penalty kill is not great. They do take a decent amount of penalties as well. So I do think Tage Thompson there and the boys can get it done here. Let me look at their lines here real quick.
I didn't realize how bad they've been. They've scored 1 goal in 3 of their last 4 games. That offense is not firing like it once was.
Yeah, I do think this is a get right spot though here for them. My interest is probably that top line mainly, which is definitely the chalkier route, but I don't think a lot of people are going to go to Buffalo here. But this is a good kind of buy low spot on them. To your point, right? Like game log watchers are going to see, oh, well, they haven't done anything in the last 4 games. Well, if you continue to play like that, right, you're going to miss the game that they pop off, and then you're going to jump on with everyone else when they have ownership, and they're going to burn you. So I always like to get on teams early, like we were on Detroit early. So Tage Thompson there, Alex Tuck, and Jeff Skinner. It's no surprise, right? Those 3 are always in play. But I do like Victor Golofsson there is we like to call him. Got the bump to the second line there. He's got 12 shots, 3 assists over his last 5. Sees right around 15 to 16 minutes of ice time. You can stack him up with Dylan Cousins there. And that's a nice little cheap 2-man stack there that both see power play time. Cousins on that top power play, and then Victor Olofsson on that second power play unit. So definitely like those guys quite a bit. From the Sharks side, you can always play a guy like Timo Meier, right? He's one of the best wingers in the game. The only issue is he's 8,200 on an 8-game slate in a matchup that I think favors Buffalo here. So don't have a ton of interest, especially playing that kind of price tag. Outside of that, I mean, not a ton of interest. Like Logan Couture is there. He's got around 3 to 4 shots per game over his last 5. But don't love it. I'm probably full fade in the Sharks here, and definitely side towards Buffalo. But I'm not sure if I get to them in my couple builds yet. I haven't built rosters or really broke down too deep yet. This is kind of a first look here for me. But another guy to mention too for Buffalo here is Rasmus Dahlin. He's a great defensive man, and I can definitely see this is a pretty plus matchup for him. And he's a pivotal piece to that power play there with Tage and Skinner and Tuck. So don't mind that. He is 7,100, so you are paying up there, which typically is tough to do on a large slate because I like paying my salary for centers and wingers. But we'll see. I definitely lean Buffalo for sure, though.
Yeah, I like it. So Nate Defies, he sees a smash spot today. He's liking an over game. How about you, Tanner?
No, I'm right there with them. I mean, they've been playing a lot better lately. I know they had a little bit of a slow start from when they came back from break and everything, but yeah, San Jose just stinks. They just give up a ton of shots, and you can't give someone like Tage Thompson that many chances. He's just going to absolutely cook you. He's got a cannon. But I like the Sabres here, and with the over sitting at 7, I think you can absolutely take a stab at that. You're getting plus money on that. Or you can just do what I did with the same game parlay like I did for LA there. Sabres money line with over 5.5. You're getting plus 155. I don't see how this game goes under 6 goals. And I like the Sabres in this. So you're just getting crazy juice on a Sabres money line win. So I love that. I see We the People's on Jeff Skinner there. Cousins, I do like that a lot. You're getting Jeff Skinner's been an absolute flamethrower with his shot. His shot prop's still at 2.5, and you're getting minus 120 for that. That's just incredible juice for someone who shoots the puck the way he does. He's just been, like I said, an absolute flamethrower. He shoots the puck a ton. You brought up Rasmus Dahlin. He's getting even better juice. You're getting minus 110 for him to have over 2.5 shots. He's had 10 in the last 2 games. And I don't see how that changes against the San Jose team that's allowing nearly 40 shots a game. So I think he's just going to have himself a night. Going back to Victor Olofsson, like you mentioned, even if you don't want to go, because there's a lot of variance in hockey. So even if you don't want to go the goal score route, you're getting plus 110 for him just to record a point. Getting bumped up to that second line. Cousins has been playing fantastic ever since he signed his contract extension. So plus money on a guy who can score the way he does just to record a point. I really like that a lot. But yeah, I think Buffalo's going to cook tonight.
Right on. I like it. Again, all on the same page. It's a beautiful thing when that happens. So we'll keep it rolling. An interesting one next on the docket: Detroit Red Wings visiting the Seattle Kraken. Two teams have not been. Detroit's been rolling. I'm sorry, I take that back. Detroit's been rolling. They've won 5 in a row. Seattle is not playing to the level we expected, dropping those 2 to. No, I had that wrong. I'm sorry. Let me regather my thoughts. Looking at this wrong. Yeah, Seattle's won 2 of their last 3. Detroit's on a roll. It's 2 hot hockey teams. I completely apologize, people. What do we like? What do we think? Nate's Fire, you were heavy on Detroit Thursday. Should I come to keep going today?
Yeah, I'm probably going to fade this game from a DFS perspective. I think this game, so I'm against We the People, which is a little bit scary. We the People there is pretty sharp in chat there. But I do think this game, especially it's sitting at 6.5 right now, I think this game goes under. It's gone under, and it's 50-50 in their last 2. Last game was 4-2. For the game before that, I'm seeing, but that was from obviously last year, it looks like. But the underlying metrics here for both these teams, so they're 29th in the league in goals against for Detroit on the road, and then Seattle is 30th in the league in goals against. That's sitting under 2 on home ice the last 5. And their expected goals, same thing. Seattle's expected goals, 31st in the league. Detroit does have a little bit worse metrics for expected goals against on the road. But from a DFS perspective, there's a lot of red on my sheet here. So I don't love it, to be honest with you. Detroit, you can always play a guy like Dylan Larkin. I mean, he's on an absolute heater right now. Definitely the definition of the walking flamethrower gif. But I mean, Seattle's a good hockey team. They're 4 lines deep. They got some pretty good goaltenders there. Whether it's Grubauer or Jones in that, I'm not sure. I don't know if I can't pay over $8K for those guys, because I think Detroit could steal this one, right? Just because of how well they're playing. Husso looks like he's going to be in net for Detroit. I definitely have more interest in him especially at his price tag. He has great history against Seattle as well. So 7,200 for him is definitely cheap if he does go. I like him quite a bit as a value goalie. Everyone knows the story. I do like paying down for goalies because I like paying up for upside guys, right, in the other spots. But yeah, I mean, don't love this game. This is a battle of a very good penalty kill versus a very, very good power play unit. Detroit, over their last 8 games, so over the last month on the road, is operating at a 42.1% power play percentage, which is absolutely absurd. But Seattle, over the last 7 games at home, has killed off 100% of penalties. So that just speaks how good Seattle is, how good their unit is. They got great penalty kill units. I think this game goes under. I don't love it for DFS, so I'm probably not going to pull any plays from here.
All right. Easy enough. Tanner, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in agreement here. I think Detroit's just been on a tear. I think both these teams, I mean, Seattle's in a playoff spot right now. I think Detroit's still trying to make a name for themselves in this playoff push. I don't know if they quite make it, but they're going to ride this heater while they can. And it's just, yes, I think we get two decent goalies playing tonight. I mean, when I'm looking at Husso and Grubauer, who, I mean, aren't superstars, but they're no slouches at all. But so I like the under there again, minus 120 on DraftKings for it. If you do like the over, 2 guys, I swear sometimes we the people can look at my screen because I have McCann and Fabry over each to record a goal. If you do like the over on this, they can score even if without it. Fabry's plus 270 on FanDuel. Jared McCann, he was one of my favorite players on the Penguins when he was there. He's a fantastic player. I know Matty Ice loves him. He's plus 182 as a goal scorer. So I'm definitely more on the underside of things here, but I have no issue with taking a stab at either of those guys as goal scorers.
Solid. Fantastic. I really don't have a read on this game, so I'm glad.
Yeah, I could see Detroit keeping it rolling, or like you said, Seattle's a deep team, so it's just on home ice, they're a tough team to fade, but Detroit's been getting it done. So it's, I couldn't say either way.
Exactly. It's my thoughts is just I don't expect Detroit to win, but they just keep winning, and so I'm not gonna bet against them anytime soon.
Don't step in front of the moving train.
Exactly. Final game on the slate, Tampa Bay Lightning visiting the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas, they're back on their groove. They're undefeated since coming back from break. They've been red hot. Kind of had a slump prior to break, but they have certainly turned things around. And then Tampa, I mean, they're Tampa. You know, they've won 3 of their last 4. You never know when they're going to get hot like this. We've kind of been waiting for it all season as they've been playing fairly mediocre. But it's visiting Vegas too tall an order for them to justify.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite stack of the night, and it's right back to the Vegas Golden Knights here. I think Tampa is terrible on the road. Same kind of story when I played Connor Ingram and owned all the haters when Tampa was on the road, and they got shut out by Connor Ingram and the Coyotes. So that was a tasty little 45 piece there from 8% owned Connor Ingram. And I'm right back on Vegas here. Looking at the numbers, Tampa's 31st in the league in goals for on the road over the last 5. Like I said, they just can't score on the road. They're just struggling. They do have positive regression, it does look like, coming their way because they are 6th in expected goals on the road. However, you look at Vegas, expected goals against 29th in the league at 2.4 over the last 5. So Vegas, I mean, since returning from the All-Star break I don't know what happened, but Jack Eichel might have lit a fire under everyone's ass over there in the locker room. But I think Vegas kind of rolls this team. It's right back to the train with Jack Eichel and Marchessault there. I mean, Eichel's got 22 shots over his last 5 games, which is crazy. He's just firing like nuts. 2 goals, 3 assists. March there has 12 shots, 2 assists over his last 5. I talked crap about Paul Cotter last show. And what does he do? He sticks it up mine and scores 1. I'm not going to chase that. If I'm going to the value, it's right back on this third line value. I'm going right back to them. Will Carrier, Stevenson, and Phil the Thrill Kessel there. They're just playing great hockey. It's nothing. Yeah, you can't discredit what they're doing. They all remain super cheap. They're playing at home where I like to play third liners. I mean, Stevenson's seeing over 18 minutes a game. Carrier's right around 15. Same with Kessel. So you're getting decent ice time there for a third line that can score. I mean, they have 8 or 7 goals over the last 5 games. So I will gladly jump right back on the ship there. They have more goals than the second and the first line combined almost. So I like them quite a bit. Second line, I'm probably not going to get to William Karlsson or Riley Smith. Riley Smith, you can add to like a Jack Eichel, Marchessault, and Theodore stack there for that power play correlation. So I don't mind that. Definitely prefer Theo as well from the defense perspective. Theo smashed. He was in core play for me. What was it, Thursday when we were all over Vegas as well. So I'm right back on the Vegas train here. Tampa for me is a full fade. I'm not gonna touch Tampa here. Vegas, every against category is bright red on the sheet here. Over the last 5, over the last month sample. I mean, they're only allowing 7.6 high danger chances per game, which does not bode well for scoring. So I'm riding the Vegas train here, and they're probably my top stack of the day. And I love that it's the hammer game because I'm going to do just what I did on Thursday, sit back, watch everyone else run out of PMR, and I'm going to be sitting there and climb the leaderboard late. So it's going to be fun. That's
always fun. Like, I mean, you like your stacks where you like them, but it's always great when you like the late game and you get especially if you stay near the top and you're like, oh, I got half my lineup to go. It's a great feeling. Tanner, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, Vegas, like we the people said, they let us down last game, but they're home dogs right now against the Tampa team that just really can't get it going. I realize they're 6-2-2 in their last 10, but I mean, I don't know. They just aren't scoring as many goals. I do think with Vasilevsky and that, if he was the one in that, I do like his save prop, whatever that comes out to be. I mean, Tampa's giving up nearly 40 shots against, and looking back at their schedule, like, I mean, the last few road games, like Arizona, Colorado shoots a ton, Dallas shoots, but not a ton. Or at least Florida's in there, and they skew the numbers quite a bit because they just shoot for the fun of it. But I do like Vegas here. One thing I thought was interesting with Vegas is since they came back from break, the ice time numbers for Eichel, that top line, basically dropped by 4 or 5 minutes a game. So they're really spreading out the minutes that guys are getting. I think that's you can attribute that to how they're playing. You're getting some of these depth guys more minutes, and then when the big dogs get out there, they're a little more rested. They can play better hockey when they are out there. So I do like going with the shots. Jack Eichel, yeah, like you said, been on a heater. He's plus 110 to have over 3.5 shots. They're going to do everything they can to get him in a favorable position against the Tampa team that has been struggling to limit shots lately. So I think he has himself a day. But just being home dogs, plus 105 Vegas money line, I do like that a lot.
All right. Yeah. I was kind of surprised to see that line. I know
I was
Vegas has not been dominant as some other teams at home, but yeah, I like them to keep rolling as well.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, anything else to add before we get to best bets?
No.
As a reminder, we're presented by Run Pure Sports. Do us a favor, hit that like button, help feed the algorithm. Had a nice showing this morning. We appreciate y'all waking up with us. And before we get to best bets, just a reminder to check us out at Run Pure Sports as well. If you're new, thank you for joining us. We got fantastic content. Tanner and myself, we handle the betting side. Nadesify obviously does the DFS. My articles, 10 articles, those are free on the Run Pure website. Nadesify, though, he's breaking down every single NHL slate every day with Matty Ice. They do phenomenal work, but you got to pay to see that information. And if you want to, you can sign up with a discount code right now. Nadesify 15, Zargo 15, or Tanner Smith 15. Get you 15% off your membership. Great time to join. And be sure to drop us a follow on Twitter as well if you love our content. Always know when we're going live. Always know when we're dropping those articles. And Coors at Nadesify, at Daddy Zargs, and at Tanner_Smith21. Thank you for hearing me through my plug. We'll get to best bets. Tanner, I'll start with you.
I mean, I got to ride where the hype is. Hurricanes puck line plus 130. I think they're going to come out buzzing tonight. That barn's going to be absolutely screaming. So, yeah, give me that one.
Fantastic. I'm grabbing Philly money line plus 105. I just like them to keep rolling. If you want to get crazy, I believe straight money wins money, but if we want to parlay that with the over, I wouldn't blame you. It's fine.
Yeah, I got two here for the people. So I got William Carrier to score and Vegas to win at plus 550. So a nice little one there. I do think William does pot one. He's playing incredible hockey right now. Or if you want to go a little bit safer, going right back to the well with Jack Eichel to score and Vegas to win. That's plus 300. So either one of those, I'm riding the Vegas train. I don't care that they let us down. Detroit did me well against the same Tampa squad. So did Arizona. So I'm right back on the well with Vegas here.
Hell yeah.
I do want to add another one I really like. It's that Sabres same game parlay, them money line over 5.5 goals, plus 155. That's just extra juice on the team. I think that's going to crush tonight.
Absolutely. In a day lacking other sports, why not jump on it? Give them a couple options. You got the All-Star game tonight. You got some XFL and tons of hockey. So y'all enjoy. Have a great weekend. And as always, Run Pure.